So, with every interview I do, I always start with a question. If you could sum your wrestling career up into one word with so far, how would you describe it?
Different. I think you can probably tell by my wrestler name. It's not your average wrestler. I don't know how many other wrestlers. I don't know any that decide to wear cardigans, especially in this kind of summer heat that we're in at the minute. But challenging, but very different and very fun is how I would describe it so far.
Okay, absolutely. Stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there. Not many people wear cardigans. How did this all come about?
So initially, I'd been on shows. What year would this have been? So I started on shows in 2018, and when I started, it was just kind of get you in tag team matches, get you some experience, babyface. Had a decent run, then COVID hit, and then when we came back, we thought, right, let's add a little bit more to this. So we started playing around with a bit of character stuff, and then I got told, "Oh, we're gonna completely change your character around. This is at FTGU where Gareth Harris runs it."
Mhm.
So I was in a conversation with him, and we were going through gimmick ideas. So at the time, I worked at a bar, so we were thinking bartender. I'm like, okay, that's an idea. We had darts player. So I don't know if you've seen that viral. I think it's in Australia. The guy that comes out to what's the song? Chelsea Dagger.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, so there's a guy in Australia that did that, and he does like all the arms pointing thing. So we had the idea a few years ago, but I never went through with it. And then we were coming up with ideas, and then he said to me, he's like, right, next week we've got a show. You're tag champ. We're going to do something different. You're going to turn heel as tag champ. I was like, is my
Okay.
partner turning heel? I was like, no. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So I get to break away. And we're like, right, we need something different. So I'd been going away, coming up with ideas, and I didn't really have anything. And I came into trading one day, and he looked at me and went, I've had a bit of an idea. I'm like, okay. And he went, what if you wore cardigans? I'm like, okay, where's this going? He was like, that's as far as I've thought so far. I was like, oh, in my head, I'm thinking, right, this is like a half baked idea. This isn't going anywhere. I thought, yeah, sure. 40 minutes later, he's like, yeah, my friend that I work with, he's like a musician. He's wrote you a song on a ukulele. I'm like, oh, so we are doing this then. And that was October of 2023. So we're 2023? No, 2022 it would have been. So we're 4 years deep nearly into this cardigan stuff, and I just haven't looked back since. I've not wanted to change the gimmick. I think it's great. There's nothing like it from what I see. So I mean, if it's something completely different, if it's working, there's no point to change it in my opinion.
Absolutely. Would you say then, obviously, when it comes to your character, you want to go for like unique in a way?
Yes, so it's the character itself has evolved. The initial idea of it was I'm going to come out and wear cardigans. I'm going to be really annoying about it, and I'm just going to be like, yeah, this is the greatest piece of clothing ever, and you guys are wearing your stupid hoodies and all that, and your jackets, and you look ridiculous, and I'm there in this old man cardigan, trying to think I'm the coolest. So it evolved from at the start it was just I'm going to be really annoying. I'll wear a cardigan. To then we more kind of went for we're kind of gearing more towards old man in young man's body because I'm only 24, and me coming out and using like calling people son and like phrases that you like your parents, your grandparents, I'll tell you this for free, all and all that kind of stuff. We thought this would be interesting because it's different. It's different.
Absolutely. Stuff like that. Now, you mentioned obviously FTGU. How did that obviously all begin?
So initially, when I first started, this was 20 March 2017. I started training. I was about to turn 15 years old when I started, and I was originally started at Brookside School of Wrestling, which was Robbie Brookside's school. Um, he wasn't there when I first went because he was over in America with NXT, and it was a woman called Fern. It was Fern who was Rob's wife that was helping with the school, and Gareth was the head trainer. And it got to a point there was some kind of going on like issue between the two of them. I don't really know, so I'm not going to go into it. Um, and Gareth basically went, "Look, I'm leaving you. I'm going to like go do my own school." So he started from the ground up school of wrestling, and it started in like a CrossFit gym with mats. We'd have to put the ring up and take it down after each session. And now, you know, how long has it been? 9 years later, we've got our own unit. We've got a ring that we have now just for shows. We've got a ring at the unit as well. We've got mats, and any kind of equipment that you'd need to do a school. So it's evolved a lot from when I first started. It would be 4 rollout mats to now we've got our own show ring, our own training ring, and extra space added on top as well.
Awesome. So you mentioned obviously evolving there, and that brings me kind of to my next question. How would you say you've evolved as a person and as a wrestler?
Dramatically, big time. So I nearly didn't make it this far. I nearly didn't make it past 4 months. So when I first started, I had a heart condition. There was something wrong with my heart, and I used to have, it was called vasovagal syncope, is what it's called, and it was basically that I would just pass out and I would just collapse. And one of the things that could trigger that at the time was any kind of blow to the head. Now, with wrestling being as physical as it is, that's very, very common. So there were times at training where I'd land on a flip bump wrong, or I'd take a move wrong, and I'd just be out. I remember Gareth spoke to my mum within 4 months and was like, I don't know if we can do this. Luckily, when I spoke to the doctors, they were like, look, it's something you will grow out of. You're not going to live with this for the rest of your life. And I haven't had any issues like that in literal years. So, I walked in as a shy, timid 14-year-old kid, and now we're going on 9, 10 years later. I've got bigger, I've got stronger, I've got so much more confident in my abilities, and it's not just changed me as like a performer or a wrestler, it's just changed me as a human being as well, and I wouldn't change it for anything at all.
Absolutely. So even though obviously the doctors told you that, is there always that worry that it could happen?
Yes. So for the first few years, there was always that concern of, could something happen? Which is why when I wrestled and I did matches, it would always be very safe stuff. There'd be rarely any bumps kind of stuff until I kind of got the discharge from the doctors, and they were like, look, you are completely fine. If anything happens from here on out, it's pretty much going to be an anomaly and nothing's going to happen serious full time. But until that point, it was very, look, I'd be wanting to get on the shows. It'd be, look, be the ref or something like that. You can have this little spot in the Rumble where I know nothing bad can happen to you, and then we'll think about putting you on shows. But we're all good now, which is the main thing.
Absolutely, stuff like that. So obviously I want to talk a little bit about training. What's the typical training day for yourself?
So at the minute, I train 2 times a week. I train on Tuesdays and a Sunday, and more often than not, I'm taking the training sessions with all the guys there, because our Tuesday sessions are our beginners, where we'll have the newer guys come in. It's a lot of foundation work. And on our Sundays, we'll do match practice and that kind of stuff. So when it comes to a Tuesday, it will usually be either I'll come up with a sequence in the ring that you're going to do. It might be something where, it's movement in the ring, whipping the ropes and stuff like that. Or I might, on the card down there, I think, right, we'll think about a body part. We'll think of a wrist or a wrist lock. We'll come up with some escapes. We'll show them some counters, something like that. And then when it comes to like a Sunday session, when I take them, it will be, I'll pair the people off. I'll put the experience with the inexperienced and go, right, this is your time to come up with a match. Sometimes I'll add twists to it where I'll say, come up with a normal match, and then like nothing major. And then they get in the ring and I say, right, swap the roles. You're another face, you're another heel. I've done kind of, you get in there, you've got exactly 8 minutes. If you got 8 minutes and 1 second, I cut you off, kind of thing. So it's all about, the Sundays are more about giving them the match experience. I'll give comments, I'll write notes down, and I'll pass on that any input that I have to help them grow and get better in a match setting.
Absolutely. And what's that like for you personally, Joe, passing on that knowledge?
It's good. So in my day job, I'm a PE teacher at a primary school. So this coaching and this teaching stuff is what I do pretty much every day. So I feel honored that I'm at a point where people will come to me for advice and ask, does this work at this point in a match? Should I do this, or did that look good? But But the thing I look and I say it to everyone is that I'll say, I'll give you this advice, but at the end of the day, you got to realize that wrestling is completely subjective. What I may look at and think, to me that looks absolutely ridiculous, but you may go do another show somewhere, and the everyone there goes, wow, that was incredible, that was the best thing of the night. But I'll always say, if you feel deep down that you think this could work, go and do it, because the only people, if you're out on a show, that you should be bothered about is the crowd. So I could look at it and go, that was absolutely ridiculous, but it got the biggest reaction of the night. So who am I to say, well, that didn't work because the crowd enjoyed it? So that's what I always tell them. Just don't be afraid to try new things, and just see what the crowd feel and how they react, because that's why we do it.
How would you describe yourself as a coach? Would you say you're a bit of a tough coach, or like a little like mellow? How would you describe yourself as a coach?
I'm quite relaxed. It's only if I've been trying to say stuff multiple times, it's still not going through, that I might think, right, I might have to change my approach here from being so laid back to kind of, right, I'm going to have to crack down a little bit. There'll be times where with some people that I'll crack down a bit more, because loads of the lads at the school, I've been training with them for years and years now. So I kind of know, like, if I go hard and like shout at this person, they're just going to climb up and close away. But if I'm too mellow with this person, they might just walk all over me. So it kind of changes with different individuals. So I'll see, right, this person, I'll keep it calm. But this person, it might be, I need to push them that bit more to get that a bit extra out of them in training.
Okay. So if I was to ask people, obviously, who you train or train with, how would they describe you?
Oh, that is a very good question. Depends on who you ask. I'd like to think that I'm a well-liked person. I don't take myself too seriously. When there is times to be serious, I will be serious, but most of the time I like to keep a calm environment. I'd like to think that people say that I'm quite good at what I do, because when we do shows, more often than not, 9 times out of 10, if a guy's having his first match on the show, he's put with me, because I'll keep everything nice and simple. And I'd like to think I'm safe as well. That's what I'd like to think people would say about me. But then again, for all we know, we could ask them and they'd say the complete opposite. But that's what I'd like to think they say.
Okay, but you see what happens when the show goes out then.
Oh dear.
Awesome. So, how do you wind down after a match and stuff like that? How do you like wind down?
Are you on about straight after a match has happened, or
yes,
later that day? So
overall.
So straight after, usually I get people coming over to me going, "Are you all right?" Because I just sit there and I just switch off and I replay the match in my head and I just zone out. The amount of time people come over and have gone, "Oh, you look really like depressed. Are you okay?" I'm like, no, I'm just playing. So in my head, I'll look through the match in my head and I'll go, okay, right, this happened, this, okay. And I'll pinpoint notes in my head, because I'm always thinking like that. I'm like, this worked, this didn't, okay. And then usually it changes there's sometimes that I'll come back from a show and I'm still full of energy. And there's sometimes that I just come back and I'm like, yeah, let's just completely crash out now, and we're not going to wake up to the morning. It all kind of depends on the match I've had. There's some matches I've finished and it's been like, right, we'll just sit down, we'll have a drink and we'll just chill out. And there's other times that I come back and I'm like, right, I'm going to immediately start working on stuff. If it's a show where I know there's a potential for me doing a story coming up, right, mine's still working. Let's start on that. So it really differs from match to match.
Absolutely. So I've spoke to obviously a lot of wrestlers, and I've got the impression that they are their own worst critics. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. If you ever see me on my own, more often than not, I'm watching back my old matches, and more often than not, I'm never watching that going, that was wicked, that was awesome. Like, sometimes I will, but more often than not, I'm going, that was rubbish. Why would you do that? That footwork's off. I'll zone in on everything. That footwork's wrong. Oh, that clothesline didn't look right, kind of thing. So yeah, I can be quite harsh on myself.
100%. So wrestling's always about advice as well. This is a two-part question. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Best piece of advice I was ever given. We had I was lucky enough to wrestle Mark Haskins last year, and he came down for a seminar, and he made the point, and it's a phrase that I parrot back to everyone: is in wrestling, less is more if you can make more out of less. So you don't need to do all this like rope running, hurricane runners or whatever. If you can make a simple like headlock on the floor mean something, you've not got to kill yourself with 10 bumps if you can get the same reaction by doing less but making more from it.
Okay. Let's obviously turn that question 180. A lot of people's going to watch this and thinking of getting into wrestling. What would you say to them?
You will get out of wrestling what you put into it. If you think I'm going to come in and I'll do a month of training, I'll get on a show, you are in for the biggest shock of your life. You put in what you want to get out of it. If you only want to do a match, you still need to put in that effort. And I'd also say, don't be so nervous. It's easier said than done, but the mistakes you make, the people come in and they'll make mistakes and they'll look at me and I'll go, I've made that mistake 10 times. Like, no one is here to judge you. No one's here to laugh at you. We're here to help you grow and help you develop. So the nerves are a good thing, but too much can kind of hinder your training and your performance. So we're not here to judge you. We're here to develop you. So you've got nothing to be nervous about or anything like that.
100%. So the show's obviously called The Spotlight is On. So for the next minute or two, I want you to promote yourself. So I'm not going to say anything. This is your chance to promote yourself. Why fans should check you out. Basically, this is to put yourself over. Go ahead.
So Cardigan measures over here. You've probably never seen anything like me. You've never seen anything quite similar to this. I'm not your average kind of 24-year-old wrestler. I am completely different. I'd like to try and break the mold. If you want to try and check me out, if you come to a show of mine, you're going to be pleased. I'm very crowd based. You come to that show, I will make you feel as if you've earned your ticket there, or you've got your money's worth back, because I love to involve everyone, every single person. I like to think that I'm a nice guy and a kind person. But when the show happens, it's business time. We get everyone involved. Even if it's the child on the front row that's scared, the dad in the front in the back that's on his phone. That's what I love about this is getting every single person involved, no matter who they are, where they're from, what they do. Wrestling at the end of the day is an escape, and I love to help people just escape from their everyday lives just by having a little bit of fun.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So following on what you just said there, what's the most rewarding thing for you when it comes to wrestling?
Most rewarding thing is, there's a few I could say, is the joy on people's faces, especially the kids, when you go out there and you have a match. I like watching the person that I'm in there with grow. I always want to make them look the best that they can, because as a heel, I see this a lot on the independent scene, is I'll see heels and they just do stuff that completely just undermines the face and buries them and whatever. Whereas for me, I'm very old school, and like the job of the heel is A, get booed, and B, make the good guy look as good as possible. And if I'm a heel and I'm doing moonsaults and all this kind of stuff, I'm just making the guy I'm against like, well, he can't do that. I must be so much better than him. So I like to highlight their kind of stuff. So then the crowd go, wow, this guy, even if they've not done much, like, this guy's good. So it boosts them and it boosts the crowd at the same time. So, you kind of getting two birds with one stone there. I just like to bring the crowd in, and the person I'm wrestling, I like to make them look good because it's what I have to do.
100%. So you mentioned obviously heel a few times there. What's the one element in your opinion, what makes a good heel?
Good heel, I would say, you got to be vocal as a heel. You've got to be expressive. I've got to give you a reason to hate me as a heel. I can't just come out. The worst thing that I see is heels that come out and immediately tell people to shut up, because 9 times out of 10, they tell people to shut up and no one said a word. So you just look ridiculous. I have to give you a reason to hate me, whether it's, I come out with my cardigan on and I scream, I'm, the best dressed man in Leicester or wherever I'm at. You have to give a reason. Like I did a show a few years ago in Burnley, and as a Blackburn Rovers fan, I decided to come out in Burnley wearing a Blackburn Rovers top. I thought it's just a perfect way to get people to boo. That's the number one thing as a heel is don't expect people immediately because you come out with a snarl in your face to boo you. You have to give them a reason. If you don't give them a reason, they're not going to get involved. Your match is going to die straight away before your entrance is even done. So, yeah, you just got to get them involved. Give them that reason to hate you and want to see you get beat up.
Okay, so one of the games we play on obviously on this show is it's called Describe the Perfect Wrestler. So what I've got here, I've got a list of categories. I want you to give you the first wrestler that comes to your head when I say this category. The only rule is there's no repeats. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I give you the word strength, who do you think of in the UK scene?
Oh, strength. I would go with, for strength, I'd go with someone like Troy Ryan. Incredibly strong from what I've seen.
Good answer. Speed.
Speed. There's a guy that was with us that's gone. He's wrestling another place now, Kobe Yang. He's incredibly quick.
Okay. What about charisma?
One of the guys I wrestle with, the vegan Prescott, does some stuff with PW as well. He's oozes the stuff. He's ridiculous.
Okay. Who's the best technically?
Best technical wrestler. I'll probably stick towards FTGU. I'm going to go with CK Light. He's the guy that at training he'll be like, I'll show you this counter. I got inspired from like this Brazilian jiu-jitsu I saw in like Bolivia last night. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay. What about who's best on the mic?
Best on the mic. In terms of, can't repeat, can I? I would say. This is tricky. I would say there's a guy who's wrestled called James O'Donnell. In terms of on the mic as a heel, he can make you hate him so much.
Okay. What about entrance? This could include music.
Entrance including music, I would go for. I've always been I got to wrestle him. I'm so happy. I was big fan of Martin Kirby and his entrance with his music. And it's the one time that I've been in the ring and he's entered and I've felt goosebumps on me just from his music and him walking down with his pose and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Storytelling.
Storytelling, I would go with, again, close to FTG, Ryden Ockerby, who does a load of stuff for Mega Slam as well. And it's clear to see why he's just great at telling a story throughout a match.
Okay. Who's the best all-rounder?
Best all-rounder, I would say, is... I would go with someone like James Mason. I was, again, another person I was lucky enough to share the ring with. And just his connection with the crowd, his charisma, his ability to talk, and his wrestling is just, do we need to say anything there? It's James Mason.
Okay. A little side note from that. Which one of them categories just best describes yourself?
I would like to say Mike. I think when it comes to me on the mic and my promos, I think if I had to put myself in one of those categories, that would probably be the category I'd gravitate towards.
Not charisma, because that's the one I thought of.
I think it's close between those two, but I think the Mike's just kind of edges it over the charisma.
Okay, awesome. So a few more questions, mate, as also begin to wind down. We're obviously 6 months in. What's obviously the plans for the rest of the year?
Rest of the year, I won't spoil too much, but I'm very much a forward thinker. So I will pitch things that I will pitch stuff for now that get resolved in like November. So I've been pitching some kind of stuff. My main goal, because I'm mainly FTGU at the minute, I have kind of branched out every now and then, is to just get a little bit more frequent bookings elsewhere in different places, even if it's just pop up one show, pop up another show, and see where it leads to.
Any promotions? Do you want to throw the names out there?
Promotions. There's been a few places that I've done ring hires for, and I've always enjoyed my time there. New Wave's one of them. Everyone there, they're a great bunch of people, and getting to watch them do their shows and that kind of stuff. Back in the day, I did a few things for PEW as well. That was always a decent place. And I've also Fight Factory. I did a show with them a few years ago, and I've got nothing but good things to say about those guys as well. So I'd always be welcome to go back if they were welcome to having me back.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke to obviously Becca from Fight Factory, Dutch. I've spoke to a few people, and do you know what? They're such incredible guys. I speak highly enough.
Oh yeah, they're all incredible. They all. I've been to a few training sessions with them, and because you as I said about nerves, there you get that kind of nervous energy when you first go, but they welcomed me in so quickly to want me on a show within a few months, and it was such a good vibe there.
Absolutely. What about dream opponents? If you could pick 3 opponents for the rest of the year, you get in the ring with anybody on the UK scene, throw them out.
Okay, right. Number 1, I would go with Smashing Mike. I've met him a few times. He's always such a great guy. That guy has so much, and I don't know where he gets it from. He has got way too much energy. He's ridiculous. So that would be my first one. Number 2, I would go with. I see his stuff all the time at the minute, and I'm a big fan of him. It's HMD or Hardman Dan. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yep.
I really like the look of him, and I'm like, that'd be a great one. And for a third one, I would probably go with someone like Enserico. Again, another guy that I've met, and he's a really cool guy. And I think, wow, this could be, if I was able to get in the ring with him, I'd feel very privileged, and I feel like it'd be a great match as well.
Wow, I've actually spoke to obviously HMD, and you know what I mean, I love what he's doing at PPW. That's another training school and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those reels come up all the time. It's where I often get influence for some of my stuff that I do.
Yeah. So what I might do is I might put the video out. If it's obviously you like saying you want to get in the ring of HMD, it may reach out. Who knows?
Never know. Never know.
Absolutely. So, Cardigan, obviously, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, mate. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, absolutely loved it. Thank you so much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. I need a couple of things from you, mate. So, number 1 is there anything you like to plug?
At the minute, I'm wearing this lovely cap at the minute. And on this cap, you might have seen it glistening every now and then. Let me show it to the camera. I'm slowly coming out with my own little merch stuff. So my little badge, I've got little pin badges, which if you keep up to date with my page on Instagram, which is Cardigan Measures Wrestler, there'll be more information coming for that. There's not only this, there's going to be more stuff coming soon that I'm not going to explain too much, but you follow and keep up to date with Cardigan Measures Wrestler on Instagram, you're more than likely going to see what's coming up soon.
Absolutely. So if you are watching this obviously on YouTube, you may see the QR code above Cardigan's head. If you scan that QR code, that will take you to his Instagram, as he just said there. He posts all his stuff on there. One final thing, bro. Everyone I interview gets to do an outro for this show, so you can say anything you want. You can promote anything you want. We'll end the stream. Cardigan, take it away.
So this is Magic of Wrestling podcast. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the Cardigan Connoisseur. And as I say all the time, I hope every single person here cottons on to what the best podcast in British wrestling looks like.